A boy went to great lengths to climb onto the king's bed. The king's chief male favorite discovered this and retaliated. Poor George had all the hair on his body plucked off by a group of people. Helpless and weak, he confided in his mother. Mary sought justice from the king for her son. The king's favorite, Samo, had monopolized the king's attention for years, not allowing any other men near the king. Mary was humiliated and driven out of the palace. Seeing his mother powerless, a disheartened George went to a brothel to drown his sorrows. Unfortunately, he contracted a disease. The king, disgusted, sent him out of the palace. Mary, who hoped to rise to power through her son, refused to give up. She collected evidence of Samo poisoning court officials. But she hadn't expected George's health to deteriorate like this. Although Samo was put on trial, there wasn't enough evidence to convict him. Still, it gave George hope of returning to the palace. Mary soon made a new discovery. Samo and his wife had a witch under their employ. The witch had a doll with George's name on it. The hair taken from George earlier was the key to casting a curse. The witch deceived Mary into handing over the doll, then threw it into the fire. But Mary remained confident, needing only to confirm the identity of the poisoner. In court, the judge questioned the apothecary. Had they sold poison to Samo's servants? It turned out that a maid had indeed bought the substances. The apothecary confessed but claimed ignorance of the maid's intentions to create poison. The innocent apothecary and the witch were both hanged. As their master, Samo couldn't escape blame. Samo sought George's help, asking him to plead with the king for mercy. But why should George do so? Faced with rejection, Samo played his trump card. With tears in his eyes, he confessed he had fallen in love with George at first sight. Everything he had done was out of jealousy. The person he truly loved had always been George. If George would intercede, he would give himself fully to George. George agreed to Samo's terms, but never promised to fulfill them. In court, Samo was tried and even tried to shift all blame to his wife. But with conclusive evidence, he was sentenced to lifelong imprisonment in the Tower of London. Mary emerged victorious in this power struggle. When she returned to the palace, everyone treated her with reverence. Even the king apologized for expelling her from the court and for abandoning George when he was bedridden. But it was too late now. Mary knew the king still longed for George. She had guessed as much long ago, but wanted to make the king yearn a little longer. George had been waiting in the hall for quite some time. The joy of reclaiming what was lost was unparalleled. The king eagerly wanted to take George to the bedroom to rekindle their bond. But George masterfully played hard to get. He insisted the king listen to him play the eru in the hall first. This move is undoubtedly a declaration of sovereignty to everyone. Even the king has to listen to him. After this event, George firmly secured his position in court. With her son's power, Mary also successfully rose to prominence. Meanwhile, Samo and his wife reunited in prison. But all his wife could offer him were looks of hatred and disgust. He was once very popular, but he had to spend the rest of his life in regret.